Hey, Jake. Have you noticed how much time we spend on social media these days?
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy how it's become such a big part of our lives. Do you remember life before Instagram and Twitter?
Barely. It feels like it's always been there. But do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a tough one. I think it has its pros and cons. On one hand, it's great for staying connected with friends and family.
True, especially with people who live far away. I love being able to see what my cousins are up to, even though they're in another country.
Exactly. And it's also a great way to stay informed about what's happening in the world. News spreads so fast on social media.
That's true. But don't you think sometimes the information isn't accurate? I've seen so many fake news stories going viral.
Oh, for sure. That's one of the biggest downsides. It's hard to know what's real and what's not sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not just fake news. I feel like social media can be really toxic sometimes. People are always arguing in the comments.
I know what you mean. It's like everyone has an opinion, and they're not afraid to share it, even if it's hurtful.
Exactly. And then there's the whole issue of cyberbullying. It's so much easier for people to be mean when they're hiding behind a screen.
That's so true. I've seen some really nasty comments on posts, and it's just sad. Do you think social media platforms are doing enough to stop it?
I don't think so. They have some policies in place, but it's not enough. There's still so much hate speech and harassment.
Yeah, and it's not just about bullying. I feel like social media can also be really bad for mental health.
Oh, definitely. I've read so many articles about how it can lead to anxiety and depression, especially in young people.
It's because everyone is always comparing themselves to others. You see these perfect lives on Instagram, and it's easy to feel like you're not good enough.
Exactly. And it's not even real most of the time. People only post the highlights of their lives, not the struggles.
Right. It's all so curated. But do you think there's a way to use social media in a healthier way?
I think so. It's all about balance. You have to be mindful of how much time you're spending on it and what kind of content you're consuming.
That's a good point. I've started unfollowing accounts that make me feel bad about myself and following more positive ones instead.
That's a great idea. I've also been trying to limit my screen time. It's hard, but I feel so much better when I'm not constantly scrolling.
Same here. I've been using this app that tracks how much time I spend on social media, and it's really eye-opening.
Oh, I should try that. I bet I'm spending way more time than I realize. Do you think social media will ever lose its popularity?
I don't know. It's hard to imagine life without it now. But who knows? Maybe something new will come along and replace it.
Maybe. But I think it's here to stay for a while. It's just so ingrained in our culture now.
Yeah, and it's not all bad. I've discovered so many cool things through social media, like new music, books, and even recipes.
Me too. I love how it can expose you to new ideas and perspectives. It's like a window to the world.
Absolutely. And it's also a great platform for raising awareness about important issues. I've seen so many movements start on social media.
That's true. It's amazing how quickly a hashtag can go viral and bring attention to a cause.
Yeah, but do you think it's always effective? Sometimes it feels like people just share things to feel good about themselves, without actually doing anything.
That's a good point. It's easy to be a slacktivist and just like or share a post without taking real action.
Exactly. I think social media can be a starting point, but it's important to take it offline and actually do something.
Agreed. So, do you think social media has changed the way we communicate?
Definitely. It's so much easier to stay in touch with people, but at the same time, I feel like we're losing the art of real conversation.
I know what you mean. It's like we're always texting or DMing, but we don't really talk face-to-face as much anymore.
Yeah, and even when we do, everyone is always on their phones. It's like we're physically there, but mentally somewhere else.
That's so true. I've been trying to be more present when I'm with people, but it's hard when your phone is constantly buzzing.
Same here. I think we all need to be more mindful about how we use social media and not let it take over our lives.
Definitely. It's all about finding that balance. So, do you think you could ever give up social media completely?
I don't think so. I mean, I could probably live without it, but I'd miss out on a lot. What about you?
Same. I don't think I could give it up entirely, but I do want to be more intentional about how I use it.
That's a good goal. Maybe we should both try to have more real-life interactions and spend less time online.
I'm in. Let's start by putting our phones away during our next hangout.
Deal. It's a date. Well, not a date, but you know what I mean.
Haha, I know what you mean. Let's do it.
Sounds like a plan. So, what's your favorite social media platform?
Probably Instagram. I love the visual aspect of it. What about you?
I'm more of a Twitter guy. I like the quick updates and the humor.
Yeah, Twitter can be really funny, but it can also be a dumpster fire sometimes.
Haha, true. But that's part of the charm, right?
Guess so. Well, here's to using social media wisely.